Hey everybody, so I decided I'm gonna start making my videos on what's been going on in my life over the past, I, I don't know, I guess basically since I joined the military, to pretty much sum it up a little bit easier. So I joined the military in January of 2018. I joined like the depth and it was pretty easy to get in. I joined the Air Force. I just had to get like a easy waiver because I had 2 ACL surgeries before I joined. From my first ACL surgery was from basketball, and then from cheerleading I went up to do a pike and my knee just went like backwards when I came down. So yeah, I had to get the waivers and it was really easy. Like some general just signed off on it, and yeah, because I was released to do varsity sports in college, and he was just like, yeah, so she can do sports, she can join the Air Force. I signed up for security forces. They let me in. It was really quick because security forces was really low manned. So January 2018 came in. I had 2 kids before I joined. I was married, and they obviously stayed with my husband. He was prior military. He was in 11 Bravo infantry in the Army. And yeah, so I did all the training, everything like that. We found out that we were going to be stationed overseas at RAF Lakenheath. And yeah, so we got there in July of 2018. In November, my husband was, I guess, having a hard time adjusting. He was a stay-at-home dad. He didn't want to work. That was fine with me. Like, I was bringing in money. He had like 90% disability from like PTSD, degenerate disc disease, all that from, the Army. So understandable. He was an alcoholic really bad, like on and off since pretty much I knew him. He had been in rehabs before, so he was drinking pretty heavily. Being overseas, well, not every base overseas, you have to work crazy, but at Lakenheath, we were on Panama 12s, and 12s in security forces, it's really 14, 15, 16-hour days, depending. We have a baby base, so you have to get there at either, it's kind of what your flight chief wants. We got there at 4 a.m. Guard mount started at 4:15, and then it would finish 4:30, 4:45, and you would be out at your post at 5 a.m. And yeah, and then you're supposed to be relieved at 5 o'clock. Mid-shift didn't always do that, but it was whatever. So yeah, it was usually like 14-hour days is what you were there. So he would stay home with the kids. My daughter was 4, so she got to go to a British school. She thought that was really cool. She did get a little accent. So my son, he did not talk. He ended up like getting diagnosed with a speech delay. He was nonverbal until 3 years old, and we did get him enrolled at the CDC. You'll hear about it later. But yeah, my daughter went to the British school. It was literally a walk from our house because we lived on the British economy. And yeah, that was a pretty cool experience from her point of view. She made some friends. Yeah, so in November, one night I was supposed to have training Tuesday the next day. So I had went to sleep. The kids had laid down. They were asleep, but so my husband came in the room and he threw his phone at me. And he was like, "Your boys are on the way." And I was like, "What?" Like, I just like woke up abruptly, phone thrown at me, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? And it was like his Snapchat was open, right? And he's like, "Your boys are on the way." And I was like, what's going on? And I was like, what? And I was like, who? And he was like, "Read it." And it was a Toigui. And so a Toigui was on my flight, and he was also in tech school with me. I was like, okay. And I like just opened it, and it was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, what's going on? And it was like Roy's story was something along the lines. So like it was basically like him saying like he was tired and he was done with it, and he said like goodbye. And it was kind of like his like social media suicide letter. And so Roy had been drinking, like he's always drinking, so it wasn't something like new to me, but so he was apparently like feeling really low, and I was like, what's going on? And so I think it was a Toigui had tried calling him. And so I looked at my phone, and I had a bunch of missed Snapchat calls and missed calls from Pestle. And Pestle was also on my tech school team, and he was stationed at Lake and Heath as well. He was on mids, and he was in the FTA, or it was the first term airman course, FTAC. And we had both like got put on flight at the same time, but I had to like, he didn't have any kids or anything, so he went to the dorm, so he didn't get like, it was a week or so of like house hunting and stuff, so he went on flight like a little before me, so he got put on mids and I got put on days because, families and stuff, so they try to put you on days. And so he was trying to call me, and a Toy was trying to call me. And then I like called them back, and they were like, hey, are you and the kids okay? And I was like, I was sleeping. And they're like, is like, what's going on? Like, what's going on? I was like, I have no clue. I was sleeping. Like, I have like training Tuesday in the morning. And they were like, we're on the way, and like, First Shirt Blackburn is like coming too. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. I was like, I went to sleep, and like Roy was fine. And they were like, well, like we're all coming, and like they had like their friend who, he was like a maintainer, I think. And so we're all cops, right? So they ended up like getting there, and I went outside, and so the British police came, because like we lived off base, and so like security force is what we are. We're not supposed to like, we can't actually respond. They just came because like they're my friends, right? And so Roy said he was gonna kill himself, and I was like, what is going on? Like, what happened? I was like, what the fuck happened? I was like, I said I was going to lay down, everything was fine. What happened? He's like, no one wants to talk to me, no one wants to be friends with me, I don't know what to do. And I was like, I don't understand. And I was like, did you try calling anyone? And he's like, no one wants to talk to me. And I was like, did you try? And I was like, why didn't you try to wake me up? And he's like, we have work in the morning. And I was like, I mean, fair point. I was like, but like, you could have woke me up. I was like, I don't know. But, so, Chief Blackburn got there. And so, like, Roy, like, I don't know when in this time, like, I had went outside, right? Like, my kids are still asleep, right? He's not being, like, really loud or anything. But, my kids also, like, they fall asleep with the TV on, and they sleep through loud noises. Like, I did that with my son because, like, he cried a lot as a kid, so we needed noises. And obviously, like, I had my daughter, so she was loud all the time, so my kids can sleep, like, through really loud noises. And, like, we're from Alabama, so, like, thunderstorms and everything, so loud noises, they needed that to go to sleep, so they were pretty used to it. But, yeah, so, the first shirt comes, Roy has a knife in his hand, and I was like, dude, I was like, where the fuck did the knife come from? And it was like a kitchen knife, like a huge, like, I don't know, it wasn't like a steak knife, but like, you know, like a really big knife, right? And he puts it to his arm, like sideways to his arm, right? And I was like, what are you doing? And my first shirt was like, where are the kids? I was like, they're in their room, they're asleep, the door's closed. And I think it was a Toigui or Jay, I don't know, one of them was just like, do you want to go get the kids? Like, do you guys want to leave? And I was like, I mean, I don't want to wake them up right now. If, like, they're asleep, you know, I want them to sleep. Because I think Lily probably had school in the morning, you know, that makes sense. Like, I had training Tuesday, so she probably had school in the morning. But, so I was like, what the fuck's going on? And so, like, Sergeant Blackburn was just like, can I talk to you? And I was like, I mean, yeah. And so the British police, they went inside, and I was like talking to him outside, and I was like by the kid's window, like, because it was on the edge of the house. And I ended up hearing, I think it was Mikey, like, crying, and I was like, oh, well, can I, like, I need to go check on him. And he's like, yeah. And Roy ended up coming outside with a knife, and I was like, whoa. And I was like, hey, can I get the knife? And he ended up, like, he threw it up. He's like, yeah, take the fucking knife. And he threw it up. And, like, it came down and it, like, hit me, like, in the foot or, like, on my leg. But it, like, hit my foot. And, like, I started bleeding. And they were like, oh, my gosh, no, like, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, you can't hit your wife with a knife. And I was like, I mean, it's not like that. Like, he didn't, like, I don't think he tried to hit me. But, they ended up putting him in the back of the car, like the cop car, the British cop car, and like taking him to base. But like my first shirt made me like get the kids, like, because the kids like started like trying to like walk around the house, right? And like because the British police went inside, and like whatever Roy was doing, he like destroyed the fucking house. And they were like, your house is a mess. And I was like, he was suicidal. I didn't really check to like, I was asleep. And so they reported it to like the family advocacy on base, because they were like, the house was disgusting. I was like, well, yeah, he was suicidal and doing some crazy shit in the house. I'm sorry, I was trying to sleep. I had work or training, but they consider it work. I was like, I have work in the morning. And they were like, that's not safe for your children. And I was like, yeah, clearly some shit was going on. And the shirt, he was just like, well, I'm gonna go to like the hospital on base with your husband. And I was like, okay. That was the first time I met my first shirt, or like the first like non-formal time, because like when you meet your shirt, you just like go in, he's like, I'm your shirt. And I had met him with Pestle at FTech. So that was like the first time, like non-formally, I had seen him, besides the one time. And he's just like, oh yeah, so nice to meet you. I was like, nice to meet you, sir. And he's like, your husband is probably gonna call you in a few minutes, because if he doesn't want to stay at the hospital, he doesn't have to. I was like, it's fantastic. And he's like, you don't have to go to training tomorrow. Neither does a Toigui, because a Toigui like came and like we were supposed to go. And I was like, this is fantastic. And the very next day, got a call from my mother. She went to the hospital because I can't remember exactly why she went. Found out she had stage 4 cancer. Hadn't went to the doctor in like 15 fucking years because my family doesn't go to the doctor. Yeah, this is the day after Roy decided he wanted to kill himself. Like in the most recent events, because like before the military, he like would go on one like every so often. But yeah, so that next day, that was a fun fucking range of events. My mom finding out she had stage 4 cancer in 3 areas. Like obviously found out later it was in 3 areas. It was cervical, ovarian, and lung. She still smokes. She's still living her best life. Maybe not her best life, but she's still alive. And that was in November of 2018. So she is still alive, thank God. Yeah, but that was the day after that. So I was like, wow. But yeah, so this is the first. I'll do a series on this because this is already about to be 17 minutes. But welcome to Michelle's military career starting in January 2018. Sign off from PattyP.